Welcome to another driving vlog. Today is Saturday, 26th of June 2021, the fourth week of lockdown, and it is brilliant that we can go for a drive because the traffic is less, the roads are less congested, and everything seems to be rather peaceful and orderly. Just enjoying the drive in the weekend. Just going on to the Jalan Tuaran bypass. Going north, I usually travel this road on my way to work. But I don't think I'll go as far as the church today, because tomorrow I plan to attend church, although I'm not preaching. I spent the last hour or so reading on the Federal Constitution of Malaysia. I'm glad that I've borrowed a few books from my brother, Alex. He's serving in the High Court in Kuching, High Court of Sabah and Sarawak in Kuching. And I am enjoying reading again the provisions of the Federal Constitution, especially regarding the powers of the Agong or the King, yang di Pertuan Agong, vis-a-vis the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Malaysia. About 10 days ago, the Agong basically pronounced that the Parliament has to reconvene as soon as possible, and that the Malay rulers, together with the Agong, or headed by the Agong, are of the view that the emergency ordinance, we have been under this emergency rule since the 1st of February. It's supposed to come to an end on the 1st of August, which is just over a month from now. And the Agong has so decreed that the emergency will not be renewed. And I think the emergency is not any political or security related emergencies, but it's to deal with the rise of COVID-19 cases in the country. But as of late, we are still experiencing 5,000 plus positive cases a year. And not a year, I mean within a day, every day they are 5,000 over cases every day. And thankfully that Sabah's cases, the state of Sabah, we have seen a slight reduction So it's under 200 cases in the state of Sabah. I've just taken this detour, this road that's quite interesting, but I'll just see where it leads, because I'm just enjoying my weekend drive without any particular destination in mind. Oh, I think this is a road leading to Mangkatal or Inanam. I may just do a U-turn. I don't want to go to the Mangkatal Inanam road, the old road, because it's very dusty and a lot of potholes as well. So I'd rather not drive on dusty roads if possible. Car wash is rather inconvenient now. I just took my Triton for a car wash yesterday. Cost me 18 ringgit. In fact, normally it costs about 15 ringgit. But the proprietor said, kasihan kami, dia bilang. So I decided not to negotiate. Truly, I think many businesses, small businesses, are suffering due to the pandemic. In fact, I'm not even sure whether they are legally permitted to conduct business. But cars need to be washed, and I do think that it's part of the essential services. But coming back to this topic of the Federal Constitution of Malaysia, is a tussle between the royal institution and the executive branch headed by the Prime Minister or the Cabinet, because the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is supposed to be head of the executive branch. He's the head of the armed forces, and during emergency rule, as I understand it, Agong has considerable powers, although there is a provision in the constitution that he must act on the advice of the Prime Minister or Cabinet, or a minister under the general authority of the Cabinet, or in Malay, Jemaah Menteri. So it's interesting to see whether the government will convene the parliament on the advice of the king, perhaps in late July or even August. But by the 1st of August, if the emergency is not extended, then it is back to ordinary rule, and the parliament should convene, because it's way past 6 months since the last sitting of the parliament. I'm of the opinion that we should convene the parliament. First, the economy is really struggling. I don't think the government has so much money that it can just pump funds into the economy, either handouts and things, third or fourth rounds of handout. And it is important for the parliament to convene to have a debate, have a discussion among members of parliament, because they are representatives of the people, to garner all views and ideas from all quarters of society, to see how best we can restart our economy, or even how best to have an economy during the pandemic times. For example, I think this current lockdown is not really a total lockdown. For example, 2 days ago, the Director General of the Health Ministry, Ketua Pengarah Kesihatan, informed us that out of the 30 clusters of the new COVID-19 cases, 20 out of 30 are from workplaces. And I would imagine this to be factories and also hostels where factory workers live. And these places, workplaces and hostels of workers, are the most difficult places that one can enforce SOP or standard operating procedure in how to effect social distancing of at least 1 meter, because a factory, for example, an assembly line and so on, you can have 50-60 people within a small confine, or perhaps even hundreds of people in the factory, and it's very hard to maintain that minimum 1 meter social distancing, let alone in the hostels where some workers have to share a room, perhaps 20 to 30 feet, but then you have 20 people or more. Bunk beds, double bunk beds, 20 people, adults, in one room. And it's well nigh impossible to have that social distancing. And washing, shower and toilet facilities are just as bad. Last year it happened in Singapore. If I'm not mistaken, about 40,000 or more workers, foreign workers in the hostels were infected with COVID-19 over a period of 6-7 months before the government of Singapore managed to bring it under control. Rather sad, and it is the responsibility of the government to make laws, regulations of premises, factories and so on, to ensure that workers' rights to safe and healthy environment are protected. Perhaps, depending on the size of the room, maximum 8 people. If you have 20 or 30 feet, not more than 8 people in a room. But if it's a small room, then even 8 people are very crowded. So this is just my opinion on how things are going. I've just reached home. So thank you for watching and listening.